Hello, everyone, and welcome back to episode 5 of Nerd Central. I'm your host, Tyrell Childress, and let's kick it to the news. The trailer for season 2 of Spy Family is finally here, and it's clear the Forager family are slipping even further into their secret identities. Adapted from the action comedy manga series by Tetsuya Endo, the show follows Twilight as a secret agent tasked with getting close to the high-profile politician. As this action comedy mixes in a way that attracted tons of fans over the first season, it promises to bring back what espionage in the ways fans love. It also confirmed that Crunchyroll that all the main characters' voice actors will reprise their roles for both the subbed and dubbed versions of the anime. So don't wait any longer, as you can check out the first episode of Spy X Family now as it continues to release on Hulu.
So pretty. This is perfect. Oh, what did you eat?
Now beware, because you're in for a scare, as the new movie It's a Wonderful Knife takes a spin on the 1946 holiday favorite It's a Wonderful Life by mixing a Christmas classic with a slasher horror. After saving her town from a psychotic killer on Christmas Eve, Winnie Carruthers' life is less than wonderful when she wishes she'd never been born. She finds herself in a nightmare parallel universe where without her, things could be much, much worse. Now the killer's back and she must team up with the town misfit to identify the killer and get back to her own reality. The film stars Jane Widdop, Joel McHale, and Justin Long, and is set to release in theaters on November 10th. That's all for the news, so let's dive into some packs. This week we get some special tea with guests on Rumor Has It, and then we explore the macabre of Candyman with Film Finds.
Kansas City's favorite love story has been adding more tea to the kettle. We will be giving you an update and filling in some more blank spaces as this power couple keeps making sparks fly. On this week's episode, we are changing things up a bit. I have a special guest with me today. He is one of the biggest Swifties I know and also enjoys some Kansas City Chiefs football as well. This week's guest, Jason Holland. Welcome, Jason.
Thanks for having me. I'm super excited to be here, talk football, and also talk about Taylor Swift.
Well, I heard that you're a big Swiftie and Chiefs fan and that you went to the Eras Tour. How was that?
I did indeed. I was fortunate enough, I got to go to night 2 of the Eras Tour in Kansas City. So it was the night after Speak Now, Taylor's version released. Super phenomenal. The surprise songs were Marjorie and Last Kiss. It was amazing, great experience.
Now, I do have to ask, did you see Travis there?
I did not. I saw the Instagram story that Patrick and Brittany Mahomes were there, but I didn't see that Travis was there until all the news afterwards. I wish I would have known so I could have looked out for him though.
I know. I noticed that he's always there. He's always lurking around somewhere.
He's always lurking.
Now, after Kelsey addressed the public on his New Heights podcast that he invited Taylor to come see him rock the stage at Arrowhead, fans were wondering if the pop superstar would actually be there in attendance. Just a couple weeks later, Taylor, wearing Chiefs red, was sitting in Travis Kelce's suite at Arrowhead Stadium for Casey's game against the Bears. During the game, cameras caught her next to Kelce's mother, Donna, and cheering with Travis's friends and family as the Chiefs took home the win.
After the game, Travis and Taylor were spotted walking out of the stadium and driving away in their own getaway car. Later that night, it was confirmed that Travis had rented out a restaurant for a post-game celebration, which the 12-time Grammy Award winner and some of the Chiefs players were in attendance for. The next day, TMZ released a photo of the two at the restaurant where Taylor's arms were draped over the NFL star's neck. Fans were quick to the couple's defense, stating that it is an invasion of privacy and that they should be able to have time together outside of the limelight.
A week later, Taylor welcomed the Chiefs to New York as she attended the Jets vs. Chiefs game. She was spotted in her own suite with some of her A-list friends like Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, and even had Chiefs quarterback's wife, Brittany Mahomes. Throughout the game, Taylor was mentioned several times by the commentators, which didn't make football fans happy. On the New Heights podcast, Jason asked Travis what his thoughts was on the situation.
What is your honest opinion on how the NFL is treating celebrities at games?
I think it's fun when they show who all is at the game. I think it brings a little bit more to the atmosphere, brings a little bit more to what you're watching. But at the same time, I think
they're overdoing it.
They're overdoing it a little bit. for sure, especially my situation.
Now, some are saying that they think that this is all for publicity. Personally, I don't believe that it is, especially since both parties are already in the limelight and that neither one of them had said that much about the relationship publicly. I think Tay and Trav could be the endgame couple, and I'm definitely ready for it. Jason, what are your thoughts?
I would definitely have to agree. Now, personally, as both a Chiefs fan and a Swiftie, I want to see this work out. I want to see Taylor with my boy Trav. I want to see them live happily ever after. But we also know how these things have worked out in the past, and I think the public pressure, specifically from Swifties, it's going to be a lot. So I hope things go positively, but you never know how this is going to work out. I will say, though, if they do ever break up, the album is going to go crazy.
Yes.
I hope there's a diss on Travis for being a tight end. I don't personally believe it, but I think it'd be hilarious. But honestly, I hope they're an in-game couple too. And the way they're treating it right now, I'd say they're setting it up for success in the future.
No, I totally agree with that. I think how they're like handling it and like kind of giving out some information, but still holding back because they are both in the limelight. But then, like you said, the like not diss track, but like the album afterwards. But knowing Travis too, that might be his walkout song. Who knows?
I think that would honestly, fitting his personality, that's how it's going to work. He'll take it off the shoulder. He'll take anything that's thrown at him. He'll walk out. He'll still be the archer in that situation and draw that bow and arrow running out of the tunnel.
That is all the time that we have for this week's episode. Thank you, Jason Holland, for being on the show and spilling some tea with me.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I had a great time, and hopefully if there's any more updates in the future, you have me back for that.
Of course, I will. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment on what kind of tea you want spilled right here on Rumor Has It. Jason, take it away.
Hello everyone, my name is Kane Patrick and welcome back to Film Finds. I'll be reviewing films and their Easter eggs as well as details you may have missed. Today's film will be Nia DaCosta's Candyman. Released in 2021, this particular Candyman is a sequel rather than a remake of the 1992 version that's directed by Brenda Rose. The 92 version does have 2 sequels already, but the 2021 version is a direct sequel of the original, which makes it a spiritual sequel. Candyman is a horror film that centers around Chicago-based artist Anthony McCoy, who's played by Yahya Abdul-Mateen. Anthony lives in Cabrini Green, a neighborhood in Chicago, Illinois that has fallen victim to gentrification. Cabrini Green is also haunted by the story of the Candyman, the legend of a killer with a hooked hand that will kill you if you say his name 5 times in the mirror. I've yet to have seen the 1992 version, but when I do have the chance to sit down and watch it, I absolutely will, and the 2021 version has become a reason it has become such a high priority on my watch list. But for now, let's talk about the newest installment to the Candyman series, and get to the finds. First up is one of the film's posters with the tagline, "Dare to say his name" on it. Director Nia DaCosta pointed out that this tagline refers to how no one remembers the real Candyman's names. Daniel Robitaille, played by Tony Todd, is the name of the 1992's Candyman, and Anthony McCoy becomes 2021's Candyman. They are known as the Candyman and not as who they are, or were, as people. Dare to say his name is also a reference to the tagline, "Say their names," which is primarily used for black victims of police shootings. Breonna Taylor, Eric Garner, Michael Brown, George Floyd. Say their names, they were people, not just victims of crimes. Next up is the sudden interest taken in Anthony and his artwork after the murders take place in front of it. Originally, there hadn't been much interest in Anthony's artwork entitled "Say My Name," and few people actually took the time to look at it during the art exhibit. An art critic named Finley Stevens, played by Rebecca Spence, made a backhanded comment about the message of violence and gentrification that the work intends to convey. Rebecca contacts Anthony about his work, and it is clear it's not about the message it gives, but the attention it is gaining from the murders. Anthony also brings up her comment on gentrification, saying,
"Hey, you artists, you young people, you white, preferably, or only, please come to the hood, it's cheap. And if you stick it out for a couple of years, we'll bring you a Whole Food."
That now leads me to my next point. The gentrification of Cabrini Green is put on full display, and Anthony centers many of his works around this. The beginning of the gentrification process is clear in the original Candyman, and it is only worsened with the high-rises that appeared in that movie having been torn down in 1996 to make new, more expensive condos that appear in the newer film. There are also literal whitewashings throughout Cabrini Green, with one example being the Northside Strangers Home Baptist Church. In 1972, artist William Walker painted a mural entitled "All of Mankind" on the church. The artwork was meant to symbolize unity and peace while displaying the names of Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. In 2015, the mural was painted over in white paint so steps could be made to put the church up for sale despite the many attempts to save the artwork. Lastly is Anthony's past. Earlier in the movie, Anthony had been stung by a bee, and the rash that grows from this gets so bad he has to go to the hospital. While there, the nurse tells him that he had been born in Cabrini Green, information he hadn't known until now. He goes and visits his mother, Anne Marie McCoy, played by Vanessa E. Williams. Williams actually reprised her role from the 1992 Candyman after 29 years. Anthony learns that he had been the baby that Daniel Robitaille's Candyman tried to kill in a fire before Helen Lyle saved him. Anthony had always been connected to and destined to become Candyman one way or another. Unfortunately, that's all I have for today, and I hope Candyman is now on your watch list for this Halloween. It's among one of my favorite horror movies and constantly sits in the back of my mind. That wraps up this episode of Film Finds, and I hope you enjoyed.
Leonardo, Donatello, Michelangelo, and Raphael make up the iconic group of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, having tons of iterations from movies, TV shows, video games, and especially toys and collectibles. But one thing that many don't realize is that the Ninja Turtles were originally a parody comic book series of a popular Marvel superhero. Do you know who it is? Take a guess in the comments below.
Oh man, I gotta go.
Alrighty. Hey, where do you go every Saturday?
Oh, I go film my show. You know, the show I host with KNWT, where we, do something new with a guest from around campus each week. It kind of pertains to their job or activities that they do.
Yeah, sorry man, I don't get it.
I don't know, man. It's loosely related. Hey, welcome back to Loosely Related. I'm your host, Jackson Weddle, and this week...
On this week's episode of Channel 8 News, we look at activist and stand-up comedian Hayden Crystal, the Marshalls opening, and more.
For the stories that matter to you, watch new episodes Monday at 9 a.m. on our YouTube page at KNWT TV.
In 1983, Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird started the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles as a postmodern graphic version of the comic books they were currently reading. Everything from the origins of the Turtles' mutation to the names of the Foot Clan and even Master Splinter are all parodies of Marvel's Devil of Hell's Kitchen, Daredevil. Now with that, Joe with Star Wars lore has an exploration of an infamous scene. Then we'll be dined with the anime and manga of this week with Olivia in Anime Stitch.
My name is Joe Huber, back with another episode of Star Wars Lore. Today we'll be discussing the possible reasoning behind why Obi-Wan left Anakin on Mustafar after their duel. In Revenge of the Sith, the entire movie builds up to the final scene between Anakin and Obi-Wan after fighting on the lava-spewing planet, which poetically symbolizes their fury in the duel. Leading to the lava riverbank, the duel takes a pivotal turn at Anakin's demise due to his arrogance, leaving him impaled as he slides to the bottom. After Obi-Wan screams, "You were the chosen one!" we see his Padawan burst into flames from the heat of the lava catching his clothing. As he melts into what becomes of Darth Vader, Obi-Wan turns away in horror, unable to watch what has become of his friend. So with all this suffering, why didn't Obi-Wan just put him out of his misery? There are several answers for this. One will be from the novelization, the other will require us to examine the Jedi Code and then Qui-Gon's actions, which finally rubbed off on Obi-Wan. The first will be the novelization. During this scene in the book, it states how Obi-Wan didn't want to waste any more time climbing down the hill to kill Anakin when he knew a Sith Lord was coming. The scene quotes, "Obi-Wan looked down. It would be a mercy to kill him. He was not feeling merciful. He was feeling calm and clear, and he knew to climb down that black beach might cost him more time than he had." Another Sith Lord approached. In the end, there was only one choice. It was one he had made many years before when he had passed his trials of Jedi knighthood and sworn himself to the Jedi forever. In the end, he was still Obi-Wan Kenobi, and he was still a Jedi, so he would not murder a helpless man. He would leave it to the will of the Force, which is something Qui-Gon was very adamant in his Jedi training. The novelization shows how Obi-Wan had really felt Anakin deserved everything that was coming to him for what he did at the Jedi Temple, and to the Jedi in general throughout Order 66. He also knew Palpatine would come for him. Anakin's fate would be left in the hands of his new master, Darth Sidious. The next set of points is to examine the recurring theme throughout Revenge of the Sith, which covers this very line.
It's not the Jedi way.
I shouldn't have done that. It's not the Jedi way.
The line is connected to killing unarmed prisoners, or those who have surrendered, and they all pertain to Sith, such as Dooku and Palpatine. So, The same would be said for Obi-Wan when deciding to kill an already badly beaten and burned Anakin Skywalker, laying at the bottom of the hill as he tries to climb the soft soil. This, coupled with the need to leave immediately, Qui-Gon's beliefs, and his own merciless emotion, Obi-Wan got out of there with Padme and the droids as fast as he could. These are the reasons why Obi-Wan had left burning Anakin helpless at the bottom of that hill. Thanks for watching this week's episode of Star Wars Lore. I'm Joe Huber, and may the Force be with you.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to Anime Stitch. I'm your host, Olivia Williams. This week, we are diving into the vampiric world of the Case Study of Vanitas. Let's get started. The Case Study of Vanitas is about a young and naive vampire named Noe, who's been given a task from his teacher to find and research the Book of Vanitas. That tells the story about a vampire that was born under the blue moon, that was born without any vampiric powers, and was shunned by his peers. The book also has powers to harm any vampire that was born on the normal red moon. While traveling to the last place the book had been seen, Noe actually runs into the current Vanitas, who is going after another vampire on the airship, and later finds out that Vanitas is actually wanting to help vampires instead of hurt them. Now, when it comes to the differences between the anime and the manga, just like when I talked about Spy Family, the anime does a good job of following the manga pretty well. The biggest difference I could find is the bond between Vanitas and Noe, and that comes from the opening and closing songs from the anime. Because anime openings usually show us what's going to happen in the season or show us things that are happening in the background. And in the Case Study of Vanitas, we end up seeing what's going on in the background. And what we see is Vanitas and Noe being around each other a lot more than they do in the manga, which is a really nice touch if you ask me. Now, when it comes to the anime versus manga, this week I am going with the anime, because the anime has a lot more details than the manga does. Even though the anime has ended for the time being, the manga is still in production. The one issue, though, is that the process of the manga being translated into English is taking a very long time to do so. There are currently 10 volumes of the manga, and we just got the English version of Volume 9 earlier this year. And since the anime has been released, it's become hard for people to find all of the mangas because they sell out very quickly. Myself included, it's been almost 2 years and I still can't get a hold of Volume 2 of the manga. So, because of those reasons, I'm going with the anime this week. But that's all the time I have for you guys for this week on Anime Stitch. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I hope you're ready for next week's episode where I talk about the chaotic world of Chainsaw Man, just in time for Halloween. See you then, guys. Bye-bye!
Don't go anywhere, because after the break, we'll cowboy it up, then head into a city on fire with Hellboy.
And coming up next here, I'll have my interview with our new guest here on Who's Next on the X right after this quick break.
Time of day, we're on in 20.
Good morning.
Not a lot of us do, you know, but maybe this might be your opportunity for that, yeah.
Who's Next on the X?
Next, we cowboy it up in the world of Lawless with real recommendations. Then we take a look into a classic action anti-hero movie with Hellboy in Movie Tea with Z.
Hey there, movie buffs, and welcome back to Real Recommendations, your go-to place for all things cinema. My name is Caleb McAfee, and today we're taking a look at this 2012 film, Lawless. The film takes place in the Virginia hills during the Prohibition era, where the Bondurant brothers, played by Tom Hardy, Shia LaBeouf, and Jason Clarke, run a secret liquor operation. Things get a little complicated when a tough lawman, played by Guy Pearce, wants a piece of their earnings.
My name is Charlie Riggs. I'm from Chicago.
What follows is a tense, action-packed showdown filled with loyalty, violence, and of course, moonshine. Now let's talk about the actors. Tom Hardy as Forrest Bondurant delivers a strong performance that adds layers to his enigmatic character.
Jack,
His performance on screen is truly captivating.
it is not the violence that sets a man apart. Alright, it is the distance that he is prepared to go.
Shia LaBeouf impressed me with his character's transformation from an eager young man to a more mature family protector.
Crazy person wears a suit as fancy as this.
His growth as an actor shines through in this role. And Guy Pearce as Deputy Charlie Rakes is a standout, portraying the menacing lawman with chilling authenticity. His performance contributes significantly to the film's intensity. The chemistry between these actors is solid, contributing to the believability of the Bondurant family.
Come on, Uncle Forrest, get up. Come on. Come on.
I ain't dancing for you two, jackass.
Visually, Lawless looks great. It captures the countryside and the moonshine operation effectively, and it emphasizes the contrast between the serene landscape and the brutality of the story. I should mention that Lawless does have some tough scenes to watch. It doesn't hold back on showing the harsh realities of the Prohibition era, and there are some intense graphic moments, but that adds to the film's realism. In conclusion, Lawless is an exciting, intense film with standout performances from Tom Hardy, Shia LaBeouf, and Guy Pearce. It takes you back to a time when making and selling alcohol was risky.
This road is crawling with cops, Cricket.
So if you like crime dramas with a historical twist, Lawless is definitely worth the watch. That just about wraps up this week's review. If you liked it, make sure you come back next week and see me on Real Recommendations for more in-depth film reviews.
That's all the time we have here at Nerd Central. And if you liked it, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Then keep your eyes peeled for new episodes of Nerd Central. Every Wednesday at 6 right here on KNWT TV.